Cincinnati at Baltimore being the next game that I talk about. Cincinnati has had, a resurgence where they started off the season really rough, did not look good at all. Their offense just porous, to be honest with you. And then we have Baltimore, who honestly kind of, choked it against the Bills. I think they should have been able to, beat the Bills when they played them. And just kind of a rocky season for Baltimore, even though they've looked better than they did last year. But going and I guess and looking at the Ravens, they should have been able to beat Buffalo. To be honest with you, not much throwing to speak of from Jackson. And I mean, it's been a really rough season for him, to be honest with you. The only really, I guess, good game that he had was against the shootout with Miami, where they got upset at the end. But you just kind of look at their team, and I think that the Ravens have a pretty talented team with you know Mark Andrews as their tight end. I think that Bateman's out. That's really unfortunate. I think that Dobbins has been playing very well. Duvernay, pretty well, and Demarcus Robinson, but a couple of, random guys that most people wouldn't think about. But Duvernay has been doing well. And it sucks that Bateman, I guess, is injured. I don't know what he's injured with. But a defense that has seemingly been playing, that played better last week against a Buffalo team that I wouldn't say has been scoring at will, but has had a pretty good offense this season. And I mean, I guess you could maybe say that they've been scoring at will, but the only reason they lost a game was because Allen did miss a pass you know to a would be touchdown. So I mean, Buffalo, seemingly scoring at will, but the Ravens defense, getting better last game, where they only gave up 23, you know, a couple touchdowns and a few field goals, which is just huge against Buffalo. I feel like Buffalo's has so many ways to hurt you. But thinking of this game and thinking about Cincinnati, I think that Baltimore has playing a zone could definitely get gouged by Burrow, who has been getting rid of the ball quicker, been making very accurate passes, and has a very good wide receiver core. I just don't know if Baltimore is going to be able to hold up against that, because while the Bills have a lot of ways to hurt you, I think it has more to with the balance of their offense. And then Cincinnati, they have, a better running back, I think, than Baltimore does. Or not Baltimore, the Bills. And then, I would say that their wide receiver core is just overall better. I think that Diggs is better probably than any of their other wide receivers. Might be a hard case to make because I think Chase is really good. But I think that Cincinnati is going to give Baltimore some problems because they have so many guys, and Burrow is so good at distributing the ball to so many different players. So it's just one of those things that, it comes down to how much can you limit their offense. How much can you limit their offense? And I guess T. Higgins is a little banged up. I expect him to play. Hayden Hurst is, really good. And I mean, Joe Mixon, is such a good halfback, and they just have such a loaded offense that if you're not getting to Burrow, he's always going to hurt you. And I mean, I guess the defense for the Bengals has been pretty opportunistic. I know Von Bell had a 2-interception game. You still have, Jesse Bates, who's obviously on the franchise tag and is a very good player, that they weren't able to pay, but they kept most of their guys from last year. And I think that Awuzie, is very good. And they and Eli Apple, I think, has, gotten better after his disappointing showing in the Super Bowl. But, this team, the Bengals, I think, are definitely not what their record says right now because they just had a very bad beginning of the year. But I think that, honestly, Cincinnati, I think I'd like to take them by 3 points against Baltimore, because Baltimore's only really done, super well defensively for the last game against a good team, don't get me wrong, but, until I see some consistency with the defense, I'm not going to put my full faith into it. So Bengals by 3, primetime Sunday night.